Gender-based violence is the infliction of pain on both genders. It could be man, it could be a woman. Unfortunately, it is perceived as a one-sided element, whereby when you speak about gender-based violence, just because mostly the cases that are being reported are for women, then it seems as if now gender-based violence is men torturing and inflicting pain on women. But it goes both sides, because even men can be violated and can go through emotional abuse and mental torture from the hands of women.
Gender-based violence is a violence that is done to a person because of their gender. But now what we must understand in gender-based violence is that it's not just directed to women, but because of most cases where gender-based violence were reported by women, gender-based violence is a violence that was done to women. But the gender-based violence also restricted is not just restricted to women but also to men, because gender-based violence comes in different forms: verbal, abuse, rape is in general. We know that men are also raped, though our cases are minimal as well. But it's a two-way street in the way gender-based violence.
Man of God, it's a beautiful question. Gender-based violence, yimpi evugayo between about two or more, whether yimpi from owesifazane to the men or from the men to the woman. And impi yakhona involve nama weapons, involve indaba yokulimazana, at times to the point of death. But they must go out to seek for help. I want to show you something. We may think that women are abused partly, and of which we condemn that. But men are going through a lot, and it's just that with men don't talk. Now by influential, they've got no space to talk. You see, so people who are influential are going through stuff, and I wish with emakhaya nabo bahlonishwe. That is all that they need. If mina njengobaba I'm being respected, that's all that I need. But if I cannot be respected, I'm being challenged, I'm being made feel ungathi I'm less important, then zonke lento lezo they cause conflict.
Gender-based violence, it is violence that is directed to a particular gender. When we talk about gender-based violence, I know many people are referring to women aba abused, but we know that there are men nabo who are going through abuse. So when we talk about gender-based violence, we are talking about a violence that is directed to a particular gender.
What leads to gender-based violence is the underlying problems that has gone for too long without being solved. When two people who live together treat each other with disrespect, and they don't speak with words that build, and sometimes they are dissatisfied of their relationship because they want to compare it with someone else's relationship. These things leads to tension, and at the end of the day you find that they now have conflict which they don't even have skills to resolve, and as a result now violence erupts.
A number of things that leads to gender-based violence. In some cases, you'll find that a husband is not working and the wife is working. And because the husband is not working, the wife will always say, I am the one who is doing everything in this house. And the husband will say, no, just bear with me. Kuzolunga. And when time goes by, you'll find that uthi umsebenzi awuveli for a husband. And because of that, the wife can abuse the husband. How is she going to do that? Uzokwenza lokho by saying, you will clean in this house, whether you like it or not. Sometimes she will tell you straight and say, Lalela, you don't have a say in this house. I'm doing everything. Therefore, when yours is to accept whatever as I own. Because abuse is in various forms. There's verbal abuse, there's a physical abuse. So it is in many forms. So, but in most cases, it starts from a position where omunye in a family akaneliseki ngokwenzwa omunye, and therefore abona ukuthi mele ngimfilise ukuthi nami ngifile okuthile. So it is in many forms, but that's what I can say. I mean, it starts from, there are many things as cause abuse. Sometimes by issue you listening to people from outside who are telling you things that are not there as if they are there. And in sense ukuthi endlini kube ne-tension, ekugcineni kube ne-abuse.
It's a number of causes. Some of our cases mawa assesswa kubonakala indaba ye upbringing yokuthi how an individual was raised can lead that person, a lady or a man, to be a violent person or akwazi uku-inflicta violence komunye umuntu. But one thing I want us to deal with or to discuss the issue embedded within our culture as human beings, and ezinye izinto esizinheritayo, like the issue ye masculinity, patriarchy, and femininity. So one of the things as the cause gender-based violence is because masculinity is not wrong on its own, because it is a concept that suggests that men should be strong, honorable, courageous, and competent. So it's a good concept, but when taken to the extreme, that is when men want to dominate, to rule over others, and then they start using people or their partners as objects, and then they want to dominate over them. Kumele kube yizwi lami, and then if izwi la leyo partner leyo lingazwakalanga, and then bese ke uthola ukuthi that's when kuba khona violence within those partners. And then masikhuluma nge-issue ye-patriarchy. I-patriarchy is i-issue ye-male dominion, yokuthi a man is superior over a woman. Now it means everything that I say, you need to listen to it, whether it's wrong. Negotiate. So that also feeds into gender-based violence, or it's a fuel to gender-based violence. And then one element, the third one, which is the issue here, femininity. Femininity in its own, I suggest a woman has to be a weak person. I suggest a woman has to be a person without an opinion. But omunye makayichaza enze comparison between masculinity ne femininity. These are two concepts or consciousness. So kulma of an arrow and a cup. The arrow, it suggests a direction, focus, moving towards a goal and the penetration. That's masculinity. Then if femininity is like a cup, it can embrace, it can hold, it can accommodate receptivity. Now that is femininity. So you are born with masculinity and femininity. in their true sense, they need to balance one another. They are good terms. But when both are taken to the extreme, kula uthola ukuthi kuba khona imbalance ku society yethu. How so? Mhlambe if I can explain ukuthi masculinity might taken to the extreme ibizwa toxic masculinity. That is when explain when I want to dominate over others, then I want to, that's one sibona issues where bullying enzeka ezikolweni, and mangibona ukuthi even my attempts of controlling you azenzeki, I take a gun, I shoot at the victim. That is violence. And then the issue ye femininity, when iba toxic and taken to the extreme, is when an individual seka too selfless, agana direction, they allow everything to be said to, agana no, and agana opinion, agana voice of her own, which means whatever the partner or the man imposes, it's okay, agana voice of her own. And the sad part, femininity, my toxic, is that when pain is constantly invoked, while in masculinity itatis palm is combat to the other person, if femininity my toxic itata igan I pointer to themselves and bese I inflictor I pain to themselves.
See, I'm going to speak about the Bible in the context of marriage, that God has really laid out principles that men and women should respect one another. God speaks about submission, but that submission is not a one-sided expectation. God expects that both men and women submit to one another, and therefore if they do that, they are able to come to a space where even when there is conflict, they realize that God has instructed us to behave in a certain way. You see, so I think the role of the Bible in terms or as far as gender-based violence is concerned is to diffuse the hearts that are angry and tense at each other, because God speaks of forgiveness. God speaks about not going to sleep still angry. He understands that we get angry. That's why he says, even when you are angry, do not sin. So he allows you to be angry, but he says to you, in your anger, don't sin. So therefore, even if I'm angry, I must make it a point that I reach a point where my anger does not lead me to destroy the television that my children are watching, to destroy the windscreen, or to step the tires of my husband's car. Because that type of thing now, when it happens within the confines of a Christian marriage, it is questionable, because we are guided by the book, by the word of God.
The Bible speaks volumes here about the gender-based violence. He is our model. We look at Jesus, we learn from Jesus. First of all, there was a case of a woman that a man of the time wanted to stone her because of something or the suspicion that she committed the adultery. And Jesus wangena phakathi kwabo and said, ongena sono phakathi kwenu makabe wonke. So why kuza leyo act to Jesus? But I do not condone this action because he was not alone. Secondly, there was another woman who was had an issue of blood. That woman actually was cut off from his society because of the condition abeganayo. But uJesu wamphilisa because of that, or even though she was in that condition. So she never isolated her, and akazange abe cruel because of the condition yakhe. And then thirdly, she associated with the woman who had 5 husbands. So akazange amhlukanise because she was a female obegenza izinto ezirong. So but the Bible does not condone it.
Well, I want to go to a picture eyalethwa uJesu, where the Bible talks about the church. The Bible says in the church, if abazalwane anivumelani ngento ethile, kuba ne-conflict ebakhona, and then in that conflict, Lady Bible, if when you talk to your fellow Christian, I understand. Let's say, for example, you're talking about umzalwane owamboleka imali, and then from there akasakwazi ukuyibuyisa, and when you try to talk to him or her ukuthi abuyise imali, he or she will always say, no, I don't owe you, knowing exactly ukuthi uyakuowe, but because mhlawumbe akasakwazi ukuyibuyisa and akafuna ukubukeka kuwumuntu omubi kubazalwane, athi no, I don't owe that particular person. And you'll find that the Bible says in that state, if you sit down with such a person and you call a witness to come in. If still agamameli nanoma sokune witness, the Bible says you must take that particular person as umuntu ongakholwa, because the Bible says we Christian, we are peacemakers. The Bible says blessed are the peacemakers. So we are the peacemakers. So conflict, violence is because kunokungezwani, and okungezwani kuza ngendlela is different. But the Bible says we are the peacemakers. Therefore, kumele wherever we go, sitshale ivangeli peace.
I think that question is so very much important. As I said, that gender-based violence is a two-way street, and most unfortunately we know so much about the story of women, but we don't know about how many are going through this type of things. So what causes this is because, you know, some men in their homes, and I will speak in particular about Christian homes because I'm a Christian. Christian women know that this man is a man of God, he's a Christian. Even if he's a lawyer, even if he's a teacher, school teacher and all this, they know that he will not beat me. And we don't dispute that there are some Christians who beat women, but some men are so good that, you know, you wish you could really do something about what they go through. And unfortunately, they don't have a platform where to pour out. But when they come into the home, the wives know that they cannot do anything to them. Then inkinga yabo ke labo mama ba end up bamgibela phezulu ekhanda ngoba bayazi ukuthi once angithinta kuphela iministry yakhe iphelile, abantu bazowazi ukuthi uyenza 1 2 3, and uyasho naye ukuthi uyashumayela kodwa awuyiphili into oyishumayelayo. So he provokes this man to the point where he
he said truth. But what happens, it's two instances why umuntu anga-honarwa endlini. Sometimes it's because lento ayiyo ngaphandle akasiyo endlini. So endlini babona a person nje or actor, so therefore bamtreata the way bambona ngakhona. And secondly, familiarity. Sometimes abanye abantu bajwayelana na great people bese bangasababoni the greatness that is within them because they are too familiar to them. All and right. It's not everyone that can see ama mistake womuntu and then bese bakwazi ukuba honora, but it requires great wisdom for you to know a person's mistakes and honor them in spite of their mistakes.
It is true that many people who are honored outside their homes or their towns, in most cases, emakhaya or in their areas are recognized. And this takes us back to Jesus, because the Bible says a prophet, it is not honored in his home, country or city, because people baba familiar to you. To Jesus, people used to say he is the son of Joseph, he is the son of Mary. They were familiar to him. This thing, if an anointing, you can be powerful as a man of God, but people abashala now in your family, they are not going to see what others see from outside because they are used to you. So ukujwayela kukwenza ukuthi ungasayiboni nento ebalekile ilokho ikhona. And this thing, it's deep, because I mean, when you go to it could be mhlawumbe kwi platform yokushumayela esontweni, wonke umuntu ba crazy when you preach, when you pray, but excited, but blessed. But when you go home, they don't see lento abanye abantu abayibonayo. Lento ikostwa yini ukuba familiar. People, they are now used to this. No matter ungaba doctor or a professor, because they are used to your ekhayeni, they will even tell you your mistakes. Remember, growing up, you used to steal this and that. Remember, when we sibosho kahle kahle, waphuma ejele. Noma namhlanje une-title ethi. So they are used to you. They are familiar to you. So ukuba familiar emntwini ukwenza ukuthi umjwayele. So into ekhosta ukuthi abantu ba honorishwe ngaphandle badelelwe emakhaya. It is because emakhaya bakujwayele. They are used to you. They know your history. They know your background. They will tell you stories. Ukuthi remember usankoloti 500.
I'm a pastor. I'm running a church, and then the treatment you get, of course, it's always beautiful, even in the community. Then it becomes a problem if you don't get it in the house. It's really discouraging. It's really frustrating. It's actually hurting. You know, most pastors are hurt, and a head pastor hurts the church. You see, so it's not good. We're encouraging Abu Mama, particularly whereby their husbands, Bapatama Badlo, things like that. They should continue giving respect to their husbands, and of course their husbands must continue to love them. Very important, so that you don't look at one side. You must love them, must honor them, and cherish them. But very important with Abu Mama, must always remember their husbands are their husbands, and that they are important, and things like that.
Said that many men are suffering in silence. They're suffering alone. Our communities stigmatize them. Our communities victimize them. And many men resort even to drugs and drinking and even taking their lives. But I would say to such a man, no matter who did what to you, no matter what you're going through right now, even as I speak, it is important that you realize that God is still on your side. Even when people desert you, even when people walk out on you, even when people don't see value in you, I want to say to you, man, it is not over with you. You may lose everything, but I'm encouraging you, don't lose hope, because God can restore even the things that you may have lost in the period of time, in the space of time. So seek help if you can. Talk to some men who can help you. We are here and we feel your pain. We feel what you're going through. Beside praying with you, we want to listen to you, to hear what you are saying, so that we may walk this path together. Not every man that you tell your story will laugh at you. And we are not here to laugh at you, but to say there is hope, there is a future. One day you're going to look at those scars and laugh and say, had it not been because of those people, had it not been because of God, I wouldn't be where I am. So be encouraged.
In all men, Namatota, Alimele particularly, men that are hurt, men that are broken, on this happy Father's Day, it's a happy Father's Day. But maunga feli ngaphakathi khuluma ndoda. Kune statement esisiqalile in our word esithi wathinta indoda wathinta izwe. So amadoda must speak out. Look for men's gatherings. Look for pastors. Look for leaders. Abantu zokonfide kubo. It's very important. So mobaba maunga feli estratini. And then if ungubaba nabantwana, try as much as possible to take care of your children. Even if ungahlali nabo, do something. Be involved in your child's life. Zama kakhulu mobaba ungafiti umntanakho ngekhotha. You know, do it kahle. and so on. So Baba, as many now, let us take leadership of our families, let us take care of our children, let us take care of whatever we should be taking off. Abu Baba must not feel ashamed to take leadership. We must take leadership in the house. It is our assignment, it is our duty, and it is within our rights to do that. So that's a leadership. And so on. Yes, thank you.
To fathers who are going through challenges, my message to you is that don't deal with problems or fight problems uwedwa. There are other men. Cry out. Noma bekushiwo ukuthi indoda ayikhali, but a man was never designed to be an island. There are other men around you that you can reach out to, communicate nabo, ubodle nabo, and find that safe place or that man that you can communicate our issues now and be strong. Lesimo Ogiso is not there to take. Is not there for a lifetime. Every situation will pass.
Yeah, so I would say to that man, harboring hatred and anger won't help you. Going through that anxiety and trying to avenge and revenge yourself is not going to help you. Trying to do bad things to those who did bad things to you and trying also to do bad things to you is not going to help you. So stand up as a man, look at yourself in the mirror, and encourage yourself to say tomorrow will be better than today. And God is going to do good to you for taking such a decision. Don't harm yourself. Don't harm anyone. The Bible encourages us to even love our enemies. So do that, and God is going to bless you.
There is no valid reason in killing a fellow human being, whether it's women and children or whether it's men. Look, we do have women that have killed men, and I have heard some activists justifying ukuthi a woman killed a man, and they will justify it. It's wrong. It's wrong. You see, as much as there's no justification for any man killing a woman, it's completely wrong. So gender-based violence is a demon from hell. It must be avoided as much as possible. No one must lay hand upon the other. Period. Baba, no matter how angry you can be, don't raise a hand to umuntu wesifazane. Rather phuma uye ngaphandle ushawe umoya ukhulume ufuna usizo uzoluthola. Abomama who are provoking amadoda to the anger, that attitude should not be allowed. Don't provoke ubaba endlini. Uma uzotshela ubaba ukuthi awusebenzi, you are useless, amadoda amanye ayasebenza, lawo magama lawo alimaza ubaba kwakho permanently, ngoba uzibona are useless and things like that. And the more wakhuluma, ubaba uba with no option but to resolve into amandla akhe, which is wrong, completely wrong. We discourage that. But it was provocation. So provocation must be avoided as much as possible. Gender-based violence is sin, it's wrong, it's evil, it's satanic. It must not be done by both parties. Yes.
Question to respond to, because indeed many men, as I said, they suffer in silence and they don't even know how to go and report these things to the police because they laugh at them. So to the women that are abusing their husbands, because indeed some men are abused emotionally, some men are abused mentally, some women are abused even sexually, because the woman just withdraws sex. I mean, I heard a story of a man I watched on television saying for 1 year he's never slept with his wife. She's just refusing. So to such a woman, I'm asking, what do you want in that relationship? Why are you still there if you know that you no longer respect that person, you no longer love that person? Change your heart, change your attitude, and try to look at the things that made that love to die and work on them so that you heal that marriage and you carry on. Don't just go on as if you're just waiting who's gonna die first and then I carry on with my life. That is not a good environment. That environment is too toxic. So if that man hurt you so much, find a space in your heart to forgive him so that you work your things out rather than punishing each other in ways that are even leading to affecting and impacting children, because your children are watching you. Your children are asking themselves, what's happening? And let me tell you something, now you are going to impact the next generation with your poison. Innocent children that we are supposed to raise them in the fear of the Lord, now we transfer our poison into them. And they will end up being abusers, they will end up being killers, because we are not careful. We are worried about our own happiness. So such women, I would advise them to look into their hearts, search their hearts, and try to reflect, to say, what made me to behave in this fashion? What did this person do to me? How can I act in a different way so that I forgive and will go on without this tension?